Hamas and Hamas's thanks. And of course, there was the issue of the Houthis, Trump's declaration of a ceasefire with the Houthis. Now, this hot development is taking place. The Houthis are attacking Israel. We are showing the footage on the screen. If you have an evaluation on this, explain it immediately. I will give you the floor, Mr. Hamdi.
As you know, the U.S. has launched a lot of attacks against the Houthis, but there are serious dangers for American soldiers there. There have been fighter jets crashed. 2 fighter jets crashed into the sea. You know, these are $100 million fighter jets.
Right.
America has stopped its operations there. The Houthis are still hitting Israel. Look, I think this shows us the change.
Yes.
Now, something like this is being said in Turkey. Unfortunately, we have a very conspiratorial mindset. Of course, an important part of this is right, because we live in such a geography that we are a society that has been exposed to these conspiracies. It is said that Trump and Netanyahu are playing games. So Trump does not need to play such a game. At the United States of America, for example, it doesn't need to play such a game to convince Saudi Arabia or to convince the United Arab Emirates or Syria, because the American hand is very strong in Syria. So Ahmad al-Sharq's hand is weak in Syria right now. I mean, the state is coming out of a big war. It is trying to be rebuilt. You know what I mean? If the United States doesn't withdraw, if it doesn't withdraw, who can force it? I mean, which actor can force the US to get out of Syria? Therefore, I don't think it needs such a game. Obviously, there is a more systemic transformation here. Again, look, the US is redefining its relations with everyone in Europe. That your allies of 50 years, 60 years, he says, I mean, where he says that everyone in NATO should take care of themselves, Trump. On Israel, I think, it is quite normal for him to redefine it.
Well, Mr. Bakir, let me come back to you. Wouldn't the fact that the Houthis are attacking Israel right now at the point where the American President Trump said that we will no longer attack the Houthis make Israel angry?
Of course, but let's not forget that a few days ago, and he went to Ethiopia, and from the visit there, agreements were made. So now he started to attack them from there, directly from closer. Now, inevitably, the Houthis have to respond to these attacks. They were doing it themselves before, but now they are doing it more. They picked up the pace a little bit. So this will continue by the Houthis. Of course, there are...
Will America target Yemen again?
There will be no news, because you made the deal. It's hard, but maybe something...
So at this point, it will leave Israel alone on the Yemen front.
For their ships? Yes, he did. Let us leave the American military ships alone. Yes, 1. Here is something to think about. You have made your promise.
Please remember your promise.
Tell me, please. I apologize. The Hussars, a non-state actor from 200 kilometers away with no high technology. Although Israel calls them the Yemeni army, the Houthis can fire missiles. Yes, they can. Look, whether they blow up military installations or not, it can. And this is really unacceptable for Israel. And here's something that strikes me. They're going through air defense systems. I've noticed it a lot lately. They fire 10 missiles, but they can hit with 1, the Hussars. In the image, these are probably parts of the air defense systems. Because it launches ballistic missiles, sometimes fragments of the missile fall into this air. I look at the news once or twice a month on average, Ms. Noor. Hussars can have this effect from 2,200 kilometers away. And they passed the US Navy in the Red Sea. As you know, there is a welfare guard system to prevent Hussein attacks. They bombed Husula intensively for nearly a month. They hit the infrastructure, but the Hussars... His ability to fire missiles at Israel has not been terminated by the US. This should be seriously considered. Here you
now,
are, sir.
The Houthis external support, especially in the last period, clearly and openly, you know Trump in his previous trips. He had visited both Egypt and Sisi. He invited him to Raya and gave a joint picture with him. This time, both Netanyahu and Sisi are absent. 2, why is Sisi absent? Because the weapons he uses are now made in China. So in a way, Egypt has changed direction. A Sisi who was completely pro-American during the Biden era is now, Trump, moreover, is too much for him. He made interesting statements at the time. He made it clear that he supported Sisi. I mean, Egypt's Sisi, but Sisi and Netanyahu had a disagreement, and things are complicated now. So Israel and Egypt are threatening each other mutually, but there is a common ground they use here, and that is through the Houthis. So it looks like Israel is attacking the Houthis, and the Houthis are attacking Israel. But these weapons, yes, Iran is also involved, but Iran is not alone. I mean, there are several countries that support it. Who is this country? I mean, it is a country that China commands from afar. Any community apart from the Houthis, they are provided with some things, and therefore these peace viziers attack Israel every now and then.
Now that we are sitting in MTR's chair, there is a desire to do such military analysis. Hoja, you have crazy ears. Now a country or an element of a country. Launching a ballistic missile is a strategic event. So you don't fire a tactical missile, you don't fire a rocket, you don't fire a bomb. For example, Hamas